So regarding Steve Bannon's upcoming criminal trial for contempt of Congress, stick a fork in him. He's done. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So you'll probably be able to tell by my voice during this video that I'm a little under the weather, but we're going to power through this video together. Please bear with me. So there have been quite a few developments over the past 24 hours in Steve Bannon's criminal contempt of Congress case, which is set to kick off in D.C. federal court next week. Yesterday, Steve Bannon said he is now willing to testify before the January 6th committee investigating the insurrection, and he said he's willing to testify because Donald Trump is now willing to waive presidential executive privilege. Put a pin in that, we're going to come back to it. When I heard that yesterday, I did a video saying this is a stone-cold ruse, a ploy, an attempt to cobble together a half-baked defense that he was hoping to use at his criminal trial. The defense would go something like this. Well, I thought I couldn't comply with the earlier congressional subpoena because Donald Trump hadn't waived executive privilege, but now that he is willing to waive the privilege, I'm more than happy to testify. So in yesterday's video, I said, yeah, that's not going to work. And today, the prosecutors in Bannon's case filed a motion in court saying precisely the same thing. The motion that the prosecutors filed is captioned, United States motion in limine to exclude evidence or argument relating to the defendant's 11-hour assertion that he is willing to testify before the Select Committee. And the government's pleading opens, according to public news reports, at midnight on July 10th, 2022, the defendant claimed to the Select Committee that he would now be willing to testify before it. The defendant's last-minute efforts to testify, almost 9 months after his default, meaning his failure to appear on the subpoenas, and the prosecutors observe he has still made no effort to produce records required under the subpoenas, but these things are, quote, irrelevant to whether he willfully refused to comply in October 2021 with the Select Committee's subpoena. Any evidence or argument relating to this 11th hour effort should therefore be excluded at trial. The prosecutors make a number of other observations, like the criminal contempt statute is not intended to procure compliance, it is intended to punish past non-compliance. They also say the charged defaults, that is the failure to comply, were complete at the deadline for compliance set by the Select Committee, which were in October 2021, and they wrap up with the defendant's purported desire to testify now does not erase his past contempt. In other words, Steve, your ruse won't work. And after the prosecutors made those arguments today in court, a judge, Judge Nichols, a Trump appointee, I might add, agreed with the prosecutors. Here's the headline about that from the Washington Post. Judge won't delay trial for Trump ex-advisor Steve Bannon. And that article begins, a federal judge on Monday declined to delay the upcoming trial of Steve Bannon, a one-time advisor to former President Donald Trump, who faces contempt of Congress charges after refusing 4 months to cooperate with the House committee investigating the January 6th Capitol insurrection. Bannon was also barred from asserting several potential defenses or calling House Speaker Nancy Pelosi or other members of the House committee to the stand. And one of the defenses that the judge ruled Bannon's defense team could not raise in trial is the one we were just discussing, that he now says he'll testify because Donald Trump now says he'll waive executive privilege. And these rulings prompted a really interesting exchange between one of Steve Bannon's defense attorneys and Judge Nichols. The rulings led one of Bannon's attorneys, David Schoen, to speak out in frustration as he sought clarification from the judge. Quote, "What's the point of going to trial here if there are no defenses?" Schoen asked. "Agreed," Judge Nichols responded. Well, Steve, if you can't do the time, maybe you shouldn't do the crime. But let me end with this, friends. Steve Bannon will be tried. He will be convicted. He will be imprisoned. It's a very strong case against Steve Bannon for contempt of Congress. And hundreds of Donald Trump's foot soldiers, the angry mob on January 6th that Donald Trump directed to attack the Capitol, go down there and fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore, now stop the certification, they are being tried, convicted, imprisoned. And Donald Trump, the one who orchestrated it, set the date, called people to action, gave the order, knew they were armed, and said, take the metal detectors down and then we'll all march to the Capitol. He is footloose and fancy free. He's out playing golf. He's holding rallies. At those rallies, he's continuing to push the big lie. He's continuing to urge his supporters to take action based on the big lie. He's even making veiled references to violence. He's telling his supporters things like, this is your country, not theirs, not the Democrats. You know, isn't that eerily reminiscent of, if you don't go down to the Capitol and fight like hell, you won't have a country anymore. You can't do it with weakness. And yet, no accountability for Donald Trump's crimes. And here's the last thing I want to observe, and I hope DOJ is paying attention to this piece of it. Donald Trump is continuing to exercise the powers of the presidency. Why do I say that? Donald Trump just yesterday issued a letter saying, I'd be willing to waive executive privilege so Steve Bannon can appear before the January 6th committee. But guess what? A former president doesn't have the lawful authority to invoke or waive executive privilege, only the current president of the United States. So Donald Trump, in a very real sense, is corruptly exercising the powers of the presidency. Does anybody care? DOJ, at what point are we prepared to charge an abjectly criminal president and put a stop to democracy's downward spiral? Because rest assured, if Donald Trump and his co-conspirators aren't criminally charged, aren't held accountable for trying to overturn the results of a presidential election, for trying to kill our democracy, trying to bring an end to the peaceful transfer of power, we are done. Not hyperbole. We're done. Because the 2024 nominee for the presidency will have complete authority, indeed the blessing of the Department of Justice, to do what Donald Trump just did. Can do it all over again and then some. I have to believe accountability is coming because I cannot conceive of a country that I love giving it all away to Donald Trump and his co-conspirators. I can't conceive of a Department of Justice where I worked for decades giving it all away to Donald Trump and his co-conspirators. So let's step up and let's not just hold Donald Trump's lackeys accountable, the ones he ordered to attack the Capitol. Let's hold Donald Trump accountable. It's time. It's past time. It's way past time. Because justice matters. Thank you for bearing with me, friends. Please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.